Hello, I'm Professor Dungeon Master, and before our regular episode, I want to talk to you about a charity called Generosity Ventures. Generosity Ventures is a nonprofit organization that supports active duty U.S. soldiers and their families through morale-boosting programs, community-building events, and entertainment opportunities. All contributions directly fund these efforts and help create meaningful experiences for military balls and special events designed to uplift and recognize the service of our military community. All donations are tax-deductible, and even the smallest donations can make a big difference to our troops. You'll find a link below. Thanks so much for your generosity. On with the show. I review Daggerheart today on Dungeon Craft. Welcome to Dungeon Craft. I'm Professor DM, and this channel is about all things tabletop role-playing games.
And I'm Deathbringer. Like, subscribe, and sign up for the Deathbringer RPG newsletter.
Before I forget, I'm going to be at GenCon doing some seminars, and there are tickets available at the links below. They are Deathbringer. We'll have a sneak peek in my own role-playing game. Less exposition, more demolition, and how to run a kick-ass YouTube channel. That's with Baron DeRopp and Seth Skorkowski, I believe. I'm looking forward to that and meeting you. Also, check out Deathbringer's Dungeon eBay store. We've got cool stuff, including Brotherhood of the Bolt from Companions 1983 and Death's Dark Shadow for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay First Edition. Both are in near mint condition. Best prices, link below. Full disclosure, this is not a paid review. This is not a sponsored video, and it's not for lack of trying. Many YouTubers were sent out a media package of the Daggerheart core system, which included cool stuff like a scented candle, but I neglected to fill out the electronic form, so I didn't get one. I have since done so maybe it's delayed, maybe I'm still going to get it, but I didn't get it in time for this review, so I ordered my own copy, and I was sent extra copies. So, this one's still in shrink wrap. I'm going to be giving away some of my extra copies to patrons, and if you're interested in that, you want to sign up to Patreon and drop a comment on the extended version of this video, which I've already posted there. Anyone who comments is eligible for the drawing, which will be held on the 22nd of June. You have to have commented by the 21st of June to be eligible.
Wait, we can only afford to ship to the continental United States. Sorry, but we're poor.
Also, this is a read-through review. That's sticking. This is a read-through review, not a playtest review. I will be playtesting the game. My friend Bob Worldbuilder is going to be game mastering for me, and he got the scented candle. So Bob, bring the scented candle. I want to know what Daggerheart smells like. And as soon as I have played with him, I will do a more thorough playtest review. But I think I can review the game in such a way that you will know by the end if Daggerheart is the right game for you. So let's get into it. Daggerheart is hardbound, 360 some odd slick pages. They have not one but two ribbons. Very classy bookmark ribbons. I'm a big fan. It was designed by Spencer Stark and a design team so large it rivals Wizards of the Coast. Welcome to Daggerheart. What is a role-playing game? Rulings over rules. I'm a big fan of that. Class options include your traditional fighters, wizards, rogues, rangers. Each class has subclasses like the bard. You could be a troubadour or a wordsmith. Druids can change shape. That's their thing, which has become a thing in D&D. They're pretty much shape changers now. Sheriffs are a combination of Paladin and Aasimar type character. I always enjoy looking at the character sheet. As you can see, this is not a rules-light game. Like D&D, it has 6 ability scores, including strength and agility. You'll notice the bonuses are not as high. That's a very AD&D type thing. Ancestries include clanks, which are fresh-cut grass, dragon people, dwarfs, elves, halflings. All your greatest hits are here, as well as some original ones like the fungrel, which are able to communicate with each other telepathically through the fungrel network. I think that's kind of cool. Galapaga are turtles. I love turtles. Giants and goblins, humans and halflings, Qatari, the Tabaxi, Infernus, or the Tieflings. Now, your ancestry does not give you a bonus to your ability score, and they make a point to distinguish your ancestry from your community. Each of these ancestries grant unique powers that you can activate in certain circumstances. Let's talk about the core mechanic called the duality dice. Actions are resolved with two 12-sided dice. One, let's say the red, represents hope. The black one represents fear. You roll the dice, add your modifiers, compare it to the target number. If the hope die is higher, it's called succeeding with hope. If the fear die is higher, you succeed with fear. When you succeed with hope, you gain a hope point, a meta currency you and the rest of the players can use to your advantage. If you succeed with fear, the Game Master gets a fear point, which they can use to throw complications at you. Advantage gives you a bonus 6-sided. Disadvantage gives you a negative 6-sided. Daggerheart does not have round-based initiative, which freaked out a lot of D&D players on the internet when it was first proposed. But not if you're a fan of this channel, though. I proposed doing away with initiative 7 years ago in my 6th episode. In Daggerheart, initiative is called the spotlight. If a player succeeds with hope, the spotlight moves to another player. But if they succeed with fear, the monsters get to take a turn. So the monster potentially gets as many attacks as the player characters. And I love this mechanic because instead of the players just waiting around for their turn in the same set batting order, they are invested in watching the way the dice will break next. Very engaging, very fluid, and very cool. And one of the best things about this system, you have hit points, but they're far lower than D&D, and you have hit point thresholds. Severe damage is 3 points, major damage is 2 points, minor damage is 1 point. Domain cards come in this very beautiful box, which folds open like that. And they are your spells and your special abilities. The advantage of having cards is it's easier for new players to remember what their character can do. And as a teacher, I think tactile manipulatives are cool. They really help younger people remember their character has these powers. And Daggerheart gives you free card creating software so you can create your own. I think that's really cool. The disadvantage is, what if someone forgets the cards that night? So it's the kind of mechanic you either like or you don't. The death mechanics here are really cool. You can opt to go out in a blaze of glory, in which you die, but your next attack critically succeeds. You can avoid death and get a scar, or you can risk it all and roll the duality dice. If you roll hope, your character stands and gains more hit points. And if you roll fear, they die. All of these options are way more cool than just waiting around and making death saves. You get a bestiary, or bestiary, it can be pronounced either way, or either, that contains demons and spiders, oozes, skeletons, all the stuff you need for a fantasy role-playing game. So this is really a Dungeon Master's Guide Player's Handbook and Monster Manual all in one. At $60, it's a very good value. Chapter 5 is the campaign frames. These are different campaigns you can use with this system, like Beast Feast. When a small village's monster defense system fails, the local heroes must venture into the endless caverns below to fix it. The town here is called Elmore. That's a nice little homage. It's essentially the Keep on the Borderlands and the Caves of Chaos. But it's got a more whimsical tone. Like there's a chain restaurant called Berries in the Caves where the characters can eat and talk with the monsters. And the characters can create a book of recipes. I've never been really into cooking and role-playing games, but I understand it is a very popular trend. And if you dig it, well, there's rules for it here. The Age of Umbra, in a dying world, immersed in relentless shadow and nightmarish monsters. Small communities hold fast to the light. Kind of like a Kingdom Death thing. Motherboard, in a world where magic takes the form of technology left behind by a long-fallen civilization, a new threat rises as a malicious virus spreads through the machines that wander the wastes. Kind of like a Thundar the Barbarian thing going on there. And this showcases the desire of the designers to make the game adaptable to a wide variety of fantasy-type settings, rather than just be a generic fantasy setting. And if you're interested in how a game master might use Daggerheart to run a potentially very grimdark world, check out Pointy Hat's video, where he does just that.
Like and subscribe, it really helps the channel.
There's a lot of stuff to love with Daggerheart. The death mechanics I think are really cool. The SRD is free, so you can read the rules now and decide if you want to play. Free card making software. I've never seen that done with a game before. I think that is outstanding. And the overall quality of the product. The art in the interior and the cards is outstanding. And I think for $60, for all you get, Daggerheart represents an outstanding value. The one thing I question is the core mechanic itself. The DNA of Daggerheart is Powered by the Apocalypse, and I have played Powered by the Apocalypse game, including Dungeon World, which I played several times. And I gotta say, I liked that game from my perspective as a game master. It was super easy to prep for, but my players did not like it. And here's the issue. In Powered by the Apocalypse, you roll 2 6-sided dice. On a 5 or less, you fail. 9 or higher, you succeed. And the 6 to 8 area, the squishy area, that is you succeed, but with consequences which you and the game master then need to narrate. After a while, with this constant going back and forth describing how, well, you succeed, but you paid a price, what does that look like? That became very fatiguing for my players. It got very samey. And that's because the dice have a narrow range. Now, with 12-sided dice, it's a bigger range. But still, most of the dice rolls are going to fall in the middle, as opposed to a d20, which is much wonkier. It could roll a 19 or a 20, and then you could roll a 1 or a 2 and completely whiff. It's also a lot of cognitive load for players. I run a D&D club at my school, and we've had something like 30 sessions this year. And just this past week, I said, roll a DC 12, and the player rolls the dice, gets a 10, and says, I didn't make it. And I said, no, it's a dexterity check. You got to add your dexterity. And they're like, oh, I did. That one step, roll the dice and add a number, as gamers, it's second nature. But for newbies, it's a cognitive step. I've played with players for years, and they're still asking, wait, what do I add to that? Here you have to roll 2 dice, add the result, add the modifiers, add or subtract d6, depending on if you have advantage or disadvantage. Then compare it to the target number, then check which of the 2 dice is higher, then narrate the results. That's like 7 steps. So the jury is out on that mechanic. I want to see how it plays at a table, and I'm very curious to see what my players, who are also going to be playing with Bob, are going to think of it. Final elephant in the room is this a D&D killer or a fantasy heartbreaker? And I think that's a stupid question. Is U2 a Beatles killer? Is Coldplay a U2 killer? Are the Killers a Coldplay killer? It's just dumb. Role-playing games are art, and new games are moving the art forward. It doesn't have to do as well as D&D to be worth it. So, in my opinion, if you like what you see in this review and other reviews, give Daggerheart a try, especially if you've never played a Powered by the Apocalypse game. Then it's going to be a completely new kind of concept to you. I could imagine it appealing to a certain type of player that likes to collaborate with the Game Master and likes to contribute and work with the Game Master and collaborate in that way. The coolest thing about Daggerheart is it's going to open up people's minds to the possibilities that there are other games besides D&D, and those people might like them. Even if they don't like Daggerheart, they still might find another game they like, and that's good, because more games are awesome. At least that's what I think. What do you think? Share in the comments below. Also below, you can join my Patreon, get access to my Discord server, tons of exclusive video content, and be eligible for the Daggerheart drawing. Thanks for watching, and as always, may all your rolls be 20s. So Deathbringer, if we made a scented candle for the Deathbringer RPG, what should it smell like?
Fear, with subtle notes of suffering.
Yeah, we're not doing a candle. Click on these videos instead.